Hey everybody, Nif here with another Neverness to Everness video. Today we are going to be showcasing Jiuyuan, this lady with a big hat. We're going to be talking about her skills, showing off her animations, and yeah, I'm running out of time with the Neverness to Everness beta, so I'm going to try and get a showcase for every character that I have unlocked, discuss them, and show them off for you. So we're going to start off with taking a look at her skills while we sit on this train. So Jiuyuan is a damage dealer. She is a ranged character who uses guns. And let's take a look at her skills. Her basic attack is just a 5 attack sequence, which grant her rose-packed bullets. And so we'll read over what those are and how those work. The rose-packed bullets are available when she uses her auto attack and when she uses her skill Intel Hunter. The bullets are like, you stack them up and then you do a heavy attack and it does big damage. Let's read this. When Jiuyuan uses when secrets take shape, which is her basic attack, Intel Hunter, which is her skill, turning the tide, or Intel lock on, she fires via info guided arts to trigger pack settlement on lethal rose pack targets. And it accelerates lethal rose packed into the settlement stage if the target cannot be settled. I wish that they described things easier. Lethal rose packed is a type of attachment. It devours the target's HP continuously while active and forces the target into the stage where pack settlement can be triggered after 5 seconds, and it lasts for 25 seconds. There's the airborne attack, which is like whatever, and then this is the info guided arts, which is when you hold the basic attack, it triggers a branch attack that auto targets and fires a bullet, dealing 1 instance of anima damage and consuming the rose pack bullets for continuous fire, and prioritizes targets with lethal rose packed when the rose pack bullets are available. She's got like an aimed targeted attack, and then there's the critical riposte, which works with the rose packed and those bullets. So you stack the bullets, you do a heavy attack and unload the bullets. Her skill dashes her across the battlefield, pulling the target into range of control and attacking, and it also stacks those bullets. So you want to stack the rose pack bullets, do a heavy attack, and do a big burst of damage. Yeah, it's pretty self-explanatory. And then we've got her ultimate, which is Final Reckoning. She dashes across the battlefield at high speed, continuously firing on surrounding targets before ending with a large-scale explosion, dealing anima damage. And this triggers Final Reckoning, which causes all the lethal rose pack targets within range to enter a state where pact settlement can be triggered, executing all settlements simultaneously on the final hit. So she's just settling debts. Pact settlement just does a lot of damage over time continuously. When you trigger pack settlement, it triggers lethal rose pack's settlement stage after being hit by those bullets, and it just deals a ton of damage. And then we've got her support skill, which is this is her like intro skill. It fires a curved bullet, dealing 1 instance of anima damage, as well as granting 2 of those stacks, which again helps us stack up the stacks. She's got Seize the Moment, which you can level up after the character has been ascended, which spawns more Lebensstams when you trigger the elemental attacks, and it increases the limit of Lebensstams to 6. Those deal like damage. And then Whispers at My Command, which binds targets not affected by Fatal Rose Pact when the Laban Blooms hit them. Triggers an additional settlement on targets already bound, causing them to take an extra 15% times anima damage. Okay, so 15% anima damage, cool. Lots of damage. She's pretty much solely a damage dealer. Let's take a look at her awakenings real quick. I've already got her at level 1 awakening, but we'll look at the different effects as well as the resonance effect. The first one increases Jiuyuan's attack by 5% for each target on the field bound by lethal rose pack up to 15%. So a sweet little 15% attack boost when you have all those stacks. Then there's Strike to Kill, which increases the damage ratio by 50% and affects targets within range when pact settlement is triggered. Then we've got Intel turns into blades, which increases lethal rose pact's damage ratio by 100% and restores HP to the entire team equal to 20% of the total damage accumulated by that rose pact whenever pact settlement is triggered. So this is actually some utility, which grants her healing to the team for 20% of that damage. So that big burst damage will give your team a pretty nice little heal. And then you've got Intel superiority. Jiuyuan's damage against targets bound by a lethal rose pact is just increased by a flat 8%. Pretty sweet. Advantage established deducts an additional 4 break from the settlement target when pact settlement is actively triggered. That could help you break down the enemies. And then Know Every Secret deals 200% damage ratio to targets bound by lethal rose pact each time they cast a skill. And that has a 5-second cooldown. Okay. Her resonance effects, the 3 awakenings just grants the +1 to all of her skill, auto attack, and ultimate. And then the 6 awakenings reduces anima resistance of targets bound by lethal rose pact by 12%. So that helps shred their defenses. All right, now that we've wrapped up her skills, we are going to hop off the train and go take a look at her animations. Alright, so I'm here at this little carnival. I'm going to show off her animations and then we'll hop in there and I'll show you it in combat so you can see how it looks. Here's her auto attack animation. She is pew pew pew. There's her auto attacks. Pretty sweet. Here is her heavy attack where she fires off those stacks which are above the health bar. She just pops them off on a target. They would lock onto that target. And here's her skill where she dashes. Pretty cool. Here is her ultimate abilities animation. Pretty sweet, nothing too crazy. I like the rotation that she has where you gain those stacks of the roses and then you fire off the roses. It's simple but satisfying and you can maximize it by efficiently using your skill and your ultimate. Now we'll hop into here and show off some combat versus some real mobs. So these small fry aren't going to be able to take too much, but good god, I cleared that way too damn quick. We'll show off the lock-on animation next. Alright, so here we have a bunch of stacks, and when I hold down the attack button, I just unload on the target. Now, just doing it that way, it's not crazy efficient. Obviously, I want to get the pact settlement and all that stacked up before I do so. But yeah, I think she's going to be a pretty clean, easier to use carry, and I do like her outfit. It's pretty cool. And then her costume, she's got the... We could show that off, actually. Let's get out of here. Her costume is the, like, leisure wear or whatever. You could see all the costumes in the video that I did for all the cosmetics and outfits. But not bad. I do like her base outfit. But yeah, that is all for Jiuyuan. We're going to be taking a look at the rest of the characters throughout this week and going into next week. So subscribe to see the rest of those. Check out my other videos where we look at the cosmetics and everything. Or you could just hear my overall impressions on the game if you want. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Comment down below what you rate Jiuyuan and if you're going to pull her, and subscribe for future Neverness to Everness videos. Peace.